Okay, Shalom Aleichem. We're going to continue another 10 minutes. Sichos Haran, up to the third Sichos Haran. So what this starts off is actually a conversation that Reb Nosson is, saying the following. Hiflig ma'oid, he says that Hiflig ma'oid begilsa baris baruch shemoy, that Reb Nachman would speak very greatly about Hashem. V'iyach shel levor azois b'chsav, and he's saying that you can't even put the way he spoke about Hashem into writing. Omar, and he said, why? He says, because the greatness of Hashem ain't sheer. There's no measurement. Because Hashem makes, these very very amazing things. What's the right word for Nairam? Yom Nairam, high, I don't know the right word, but Neflam, wonders, and we can't even understand the wonders that Hashem does. That's why we can't even put these things into writing. He says why? Meaning, he says, even, right now we know nothing. This is going back 200 years ago, when it was recorded. He says, and he says also, as it's brought down, he says, this is brought down in the Svar. I think the Rambam brings down here. It says that in the Sefer Bechinas Olam, it's brought down that Tachlis HaYediyah, like the person wants to know what's the Tachlis of Yediyah, knowledge of Hashem. It's Shaloi Neda, that we get to a level where we know we don't know, right? So he says it's brought down that that's the Tachlis, and he says Gamken Eitzel Kol Yediyah. He says, but even within each thing that we have an understanding of, even if you get to the tachlis of the idea in a certain thing, the Hani Loi Naida, which is okay, so you get to the understanding of this area. Oh, I know, I don't know. He says he says you still didn't reach the tachlis. Why? What is the tachlis? He says, because this tachlis that you reach is only in that specific understanding. He says, but in a higher understanding of that thing, and you didn't even begin to start understanding it. He says, so too it goes higher. So basically he's explaining that we can never really comprehend anything, because even if you reach the level of Tachlis Idea Shaloi Neda, okay, so now you reach that level, but now there's a higher level which you didn't even begin to start processing. Okay, it says Nimsa comes out Shaloi in Yodim Klal. So it says that basically, from basically always we know nothing. Bav Bichan, he says, even though Ein Zeh Tachlis Ki Adain Leschel Klal Leda B'Diyas Shlamal Nizos Idea. So he says pretty much we can never really reach the tachlis, because you get to the tachlis, okay? So now above this tachlis is again levels upon levels of levels, and each level you have to get to the loy neda. So this is why in the beginning he explains that you can't even begin to write down the greatness of Hashem. Continuing, and he also spoke, constantly spoke very, very high of the ability to do teshuvah, and how great this ability that Hashem gave us of, teshuvah. He explains, even if a person falls very, very much chaz v'shalom, each person, being that they fell to wherever they fell, says, even though you're not allowed to, give up, be miyayish yourself. Why? Teshuva, it's even higher level. It's above the Torah. Okay, and if we know from the Sfarim explain that the tshuva comes before the Torah. Hashem put in this ability to do teshuva before the Torah. I'm just going to point it out, just one, place where I think we all can see it. The story of Chaim and Hevel, right? Hashem tells him right away, you do tshuva, you'll be okay. This takes place right in the beginning. We get the Torah, in the year 2448 from creation, right? Tshuva is in the world before the Torah. So he's saying tshuva is so great. And he says, therefore, a person should not give up ever. Why? And he says, why? You never give up. Why? Because we know, if a person does merit teshuva, from our averas, it can be turned into a total different thing. As Chazal tell us, it's a Gemara in Yuma, that we have the ability to basically, a person does a lot of averas. If you're able to get onto the true path, you can turn all that into merits, zechuyas. The Ashbin Sisrael Stars says in this, Indian of turning our averas into mitzvahs or zechuyas, there's deep mysteries involved in it. Continuing, he says Haklal is this is the general thing is should we call in the filos vayarida sheboilam. He says from all the dangers and that we could fall and stumble in the world. Rahman al-Islam yicholim lachzer elav yisbarach ben nokal you can actually reverse them very easily because the greatness of Hashem we can't even comprehend. Right? I'm just gonna throw this out there. Today, where we are in time. You can see a building like the Twin Towers, and it's, whatever it is, 200-300 stories high, whatever it is. Where we are today, it takes a long time to build, right? A lot of manpower, a lot of money, but once it's built, you go into the elevator, you can shoot up, in whatever it is, 2 minutes. Tshuva, Reb Nachman, as he started off this conversation saying the greatness of Hashem, you can't even put into words, and he's finishing this conversation with the greatness of Tshuva, and he's saying we don't even know how great Tshuva really is, so that's why a person should never give up, because you can actually do Tshuva, and you can reverse everything. To finish off this conversation, he says Ve'ikr, he says, and the main thing is Shakol Toliboy, that everything depended on is Shlo Yeh Miyoyish Atzmai. Person should not be meyayish. Yoyish means don't dry yourself out. I'm just going to give you what comes to mind with this concept of drying out. Right? We know what comes, the Sichos, and we spend, whatever we want to get the nicest esrog, nicest lulav, and we use it, and and we feel good about it. But what happens towards the end of Sichos? The esrog, the lulav starts getting dried out. Right? Why? Because that's what happens, right? It gets dried out. When we stay connected to our source, now it gets dried out because it's obviously disconnected, it's cut off from the ground, and it stays fresh for X amount of time. But as a person, when you connect to tshuva, which you'll find how to do that from the tzaddikim that taught us how to, from studying of Torah, studying the Moshe Sfarim, right? You're connecting to the source. You're reconnecting yourself. He's saying, it's so great, don't dry yourself out. He says, I'll just finish this last paragraph. The Iker, he says, the main thing is Shakol Toliboy. He says, don't be meyayish yourself. Litzlek al Hashem. Litzlek means, the bottom of your heart, just give a cry out to Hashem. Constantly. He says, don't give up. No matter what. Tshuva is not easy. No one said it's easy. But he's showing us, and this is, don't give up from litzayv, cry, and the schanan means, he says, let me find favor, spalo. We know that Imam and the Munish Lema, right? Shabari is Baruch Shemoy, royalist spalo. Very royalist spalo, lizi losay. We can only daven to Hashem. to no one else. When a person knows that, you take chizuk from tzaddikim that went before us and showed us the paths. And they're telling us that, you see, you have to realize Chazal already showed us, and we know exactly what the state of affairs are going to look like as we get closer to, the second to last animal and the Mun Shlema, but Bias HaMashiach, the Apple Pish, Isma Meir, right? In Kozeh Chakel B'chol Mashiach. Chazal tell us it's going to get dark, very, very dark. But they also know that it's going to happen. We're going to be able to teshuva. And the tzaddikim that went before us, not that long ago. See, today it's very hard to go on this path that these tzaddikim went on. Very hard. Today there's, a person goes a little bit off what seems normal right away. They start questioning, is this normal? And the person questions himself. But these tzaddikim lived in a time when it was you were able to still connect to the true derech. Let's take chizuk from the Sichos Haran and let's not give up on the ability to teshuva. Okay, we're going to stop here.